Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Elise is off tonight. The campaign for governor, especially on the Democratic side, heating up today with former Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes taking questions from reporters for the very first time, just 24 hours after announcing his bid. Also today, two of his biggest competitors sounding off on Barnes being considered the front runner with an early lead in polling. In Your Voice, Your Vote coverage, the latest on what's being said ahead of this high-stakes August primary. With Governor Tony Evers not seeking a third term, former Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes appearing to be a front-runner on the Democratic side, but also pushing back in Wauwatosa Wednesday when asked about an editorial in the black-owned Milwaukee Courier saying he should step aside after losing a U.S. Senate bid to Ron Johnson just 3 years ago.
I don't take a single vote for granted. Fight hard wherever. As a Milwaukee native, as somebody who's been, who's born and raised in Milwaukee, a product of Milwaukee schools, and I think about the race in 22. It got more votes than anybody in the city of Milwaukee ever in a midterm election. But that doesn't mean I'm just going to assume folks are going to vote for me again.
On the Republican side, only two people are running, Congressman Tom Tiffany and Washington County Executive Josh Schoeman. The race for governor on the Democratic side of the ballot is now a crowded one, which includes current Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, Milwaukee County Executive David Crawley, State Senator Kelda Roy, State Representative Francesca Hong, and former Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation CEO Missy Hughes, just to name a few. During a Zoom interview, Crawley responded to the notion of Barnes being the front runner.
I don't necessarily, think that, name ID equals being the front runner. I think that is part of the messaging campaign that is being put out there because there are individuals who, quite frankly, don't want folks to succeed in this race.
Rodriguez campaigning in Appleton Wednesday night, also responding to Barnes entering the race, saying she's not worried.
I would say that I am the best person to be able to win the general in November. I'm the only one in the field that actually flipped a district from red to blue. And not only that, but I have private executive experience plus elected office experience. That's a really good combination to be able to lead the state on day one.
The primary for both the Republicans and Democrats to pick a candidate for governor still a ways out, taking place on August 11th.